We've got a 2-map hunt to look forward to today here in the Hunter Classic, and with the addition of the Texas Lodge, there's so much more opportunity to improve on the animals we have in it, and we're going to try to make the absolute most of that today. Now, I chose Logger's Point today because I haven't decided on what the second map is going to be, and basically my idea is if we happen to get good whitetail luck, maybe we'll go to Timbergold Trails and see if we can get anything decent for mule deer. If we were to get a good mule deer here on Logger's Point, we might look towards Red Feather or somewhere else. So, starting off with a very not impressive whitetail buck, and you can see we've covered quite some ground. I'm not finding a lot of deer here so far. Hopefully, as we move south, that'll change because one buck that's going to score in the 50s in about a half hour, not exactly what we are after. 65 score, I guess he's a little bigger than I thought, but sure not one that's going to go on the wall of the Texas Lodge. And from one unimpressive buck to another, now we've got a 70 to 95 buck coming in. But the worst part is this doe is getting pretty darn close, so I brought the 44 Custom. I think it might be a good opportunity to actually get to use it. I'm thinking that's going to be a single lung and it'll actually bring him down fairly quickly, but because of the complete lack of anything decent on the northern part of Loggers, I want to get down south anyway and might as well use the pistol, maybe for the only time in this hunt. We'll see, but I'm carrying the 17 HMR for small game, and obviously the bow is going to be our main weapon, so let's see. Did we actually hit that guy decently? Ooh. 85 to 100 track. Alright, well that's not even what we were trying to click on. That ends up being body blood. I wonder if that'll bring him down or not. That track was really old. Maybe we come back to this and find him if we can get the heavy track found and brought down quickly, but I'd rather track a potential big buck than a, whatever, 80 scoring whitetail that isn't hit so well. That's a pretty good looking buck, and that is the one that we're tracking. There's actually another buck a little closer to us. He is going to be 175 to 200 on the estimate. I think he's a 7x7 though. Got a perfect frame, no stickers, no nothing. And then this other buck that's coming in, much smaller, much less impressive, 115 to 140. Now we just used the 44 and it didn't go particularly well. And we're going to be on the fringe here with that other buck hearing it. I think we're going to fling this arrow. I don't know. He's getting up here pretty close. We might just take a long shot at this guy. What are we looking at? He's about 60 there. I kind of think, crazy as it may sound, that's going to be our best option. I really hope he kind of stops though. Doesn't look like he's gonna. Oh, and he actually... How did he do that? He avoided the shot. I don't know if it was because this buck spooked. Probably should have done that in the other order. If we'd have just... I thought he was closer than that. If we'd have just shot the smaller buck, we'd have been fine. So now we get to re-track him. But we know he's a good one at least. I mean, we cannot stop getting unlucky with things walking right at us. Got a feral hog here, which actually wants to murder us, but fortunately, we were already at full draw, so we're still tracking this dude, and I think that track right there may be him finally getting off this beach. It's been impossible to get anywhere near him because he keeps running into the water, doubling back at us, and spooking in the weirdest places. So, got that hog down, and as long as he actually cut up away from the water, I think we're going to be okay. Now, I should note the whole reason that we're doing a 2-map hunt today is because, as I always say, usually the classic videos are recorded Monday before the live stream, and this Monday's live stream happened to be pushed up by 2 hours, so less time today, therefore we really need to kill this guy soon. I mean, he literally did it again. He's turned around coming back at us, but this time, we're off the beach, it's not as thick, and we actually got eyes on him before he could run up into us and spook. So, he's still not going to come into a call, that's for sure. But I feel like if we can get him even at 40, we'd go for that shot. And he's not much beyond 40 right now. I'm not going to do too much moving around, just in the interest of really trying to be cautious here. I think he just stopped back behind that tree. I'm not going to move. We're just going to let him do his thing. And if we can get a shot opportunity somewhere, and if that hog walks close to us, we're going with the 44. We're going to try to get it. So he is about 47 out. Man, if I trusted the 44, we had that not so great shot earlier, I would definitely go for that. I think we might still. I don't like how close that hog is getting. We just can't afford to have that happen again. So what I'm going to do is actually kind of take the spotting away, re-spot him, and then shoot when I can see the white outline, just to try to get a little extra. One more hit's going to bring him down. And that concludes one of the worst chases I've had for a while, trying to get one particular animal. And it wasn't even like we couldn't find him. We kept finding him. That was the problem. But he's finally down. A 175 to 200 7x7 whitetail. His frame looks immaculate. As far as whitetail deer frames go, I haven't seen a whole lot better as a 7x7. And we did long shot him, by the way, so we'd have been okay even without the additional hit. I mean, look at the tine length. He's a fantastic 7x7. Left lung and then body, 182 as a 7x7 is pretty darn good. Not quite something we'd put in the trophy lodge. We've got a number of 190s in there already. And, you know, if he had the 2 additional tines, no doubt he would be in that area. And this is the perfect example of a deer that, if they ever did whitetail deer European mounts like they've done for elk, 1000%, that's what we would do with this one. So I'm not sure if we can actually set up a decent photo here how I wanted to do it. Kind of cool we killed a big buck with a 44 though. That's not what I planned on doing today. And I'm gonna say that will work for a trophy photo showing the 44 custom in it. Really, I think this angle highlights both the width and the tine length for this guy. Just a really, really solid buck and a really, really frustrating track. I wouldn't be shocked by now if the tracks from that other deer that we hit, which by the way, I think if we dropped him with the bow or dropped him with the 44, there's another buck grunting, I don't think I would have picked up the track that ultimately led to that 182. So they're weird here. They don't come straight to the stand, they'll go way up and around. So if we can just get eyes on this and know what he is, I want to go and try to get that blood and maybe see if that smaller buck went down. So that's the buck that grunted. Definitely not that big. The thing is, we've also got this buck, which is similar to the one that we shot with the 44, but not the same deer. And I can hear something walking behind us, probably that feral hog. So since this one's theoretically in range anyway, can I aim pretty high because of that angle? That'll drop him. I'm not even going to worry about that one coming in. And we'll at least see if we can pick up the tracks of that other one. And maybe that didn't bring him down. I don't know. I feel like it, at that range, maybe could have. But as for this little dude, our second very unimpressive buck of the hunt, 56 score. Double lung liver, by the way, not terrible, 43 meters. Now let's climb back up here and see. I just gotta think those tracks are gone anyway, but we'll look. Actually, the tracks are still here. 60 minutes old now, but might allow us to recover him. And wouldn't you know it, that actually brought him down. So one little bonus kill, which is gonna be kind of a medium-sized buck, 78 score. Got him down in under 2 minutes. That's actually not too bad, but unfortunately, that will end up being the last kill from Loggers Point. So I think no doubt we are headed to Timbergold Trails. We had a little bit of whitetail luck and literally never had even so much as a track from a mule deer. So we'll be able to find those over on Timbergold Trails, and I say we head there and give it a look. So one quick inventory switch later, swapped out the 17 HMR since it's basically useless on this map for the Call of the Wild 270. Haven't used this thing in a long time, but you guys know I like camo guns, and I figured it might be fun to try to take mule deer, wolves, maybe pumas, things like that with. So we're gonna head out, and I said, you know, mule deer as kind of one of the main species, but there's a lot of stuff on this map that I'd love to add to the lodge. We'll see if we can stumble into something that ends up being placed there. So kind of like our hunt over on Loggers Point, starting with a not so impressive buck, 105 to 130, and I actually wanted to use the 270, but he's gonna walk in so close. We might as well, ooh, that might have been a good thing, might as well take him with the bow. Can we ID that in time? We can. Okay, that's interesting. That track just lit up, and it's among a couple of other tracks. That may be a group of bucks on our left that just grunted, and we may have really lucked out by the fact that that guy walked in behind that tree and didn't let us shoot him at a distance with the 270. So let's find ourselves a decent spot. This actually isn't half bad. I want to be able to see this whole hillside in case it is a group of bucks coming in and we might have to shoot the one in the back. I think this rock should suffice. We may have a little bit of a problem. I think there's a herd of mule deer does coming in. I'm sure I heard more than one animal's footsteps, and I still hear more as that one's standing still. Now, we might be able to just drop everything and get away with it. Just gotta keep an eye on the direction that buck actually grunted from. Weirdly enough, now it doesn't sound like 5. There's that grunt again. Dropped 2 does. Oh, okay, there's definitely multiple bucks. He is looking at us, and he's not bad. I'm not so sure. Yeah, there's going to be at least probably 5 here, and I think we'll get away with this if we just hang tight. That's not a bad buck. He's actually decent estimate, and this one will be too. Got number 4 walking over the hill. They're all like the same general size range, and these does are sneaking up behind us. So I'm going to get the 270 ready, and we're going to try to hang in here till the last second and see all 5 bucks. So there's 3 there, 4th one there, and stuff is probably getting a little too close. Is it the one up to 185? It is. So we'll just take him. I saw an elk come over the hill last second. Probably 1 buck we just didn't get to see. So I don't think we'll try to go track it. We may see if we can pick up the tracks around there. If it happens to be really heavy, maybe. But even that buck that we just shot was a pretty good weight estimate. I think he was 125 to 135, if I saw that out of the corner of my eye correctly. But what did we just shoot? Like 4 mule deer? All because that first buck pretty much came in the one spot. We couldn't take him with the 270, but that's got to be the first time we've even fired this thing in like, it might be half a decade. I really don't remember last time we used it. Got a hard shot there, 124 kilo, and a 163 score for him. So we will pick up tracks just in case, but I think we'll go ahead and move on. The whole reason I was willing to use the 270 on the first buck, by the way, is that this really isn't the area that I was planning on hunting. I want to get to the west side of the map, but when we hunted loggers, we kind of did the inverse of what we've done lately, and we got a pretty nice buck, a 182 whitetail, and I wanted to basically do the inverse of what I typically do on Timbergold trails. Seems like it's working so far. Well, this is kind of a cool, rare opportunity. Got a decent wolf here, 15 to 17, but the main rare thing is, it's actually there feeding at that elk carcass. They don't actually do that super often, and again, because we've got the 270, I think we're gonna go ahead and try to get that guy. Let's see if we can get a good lung shot here. That dropped him with the 270. I don't know for sure that a body shot, at least at that range, would actually bring one down, so glad we managed to punch into the vitals. And you know, it would have been even cooler if we happened to be in that blind when he was over here at the elk carcass, although maybe with all the grass, it actually wouldn't have been as visible as it was from a distance. So let's see, I actually dropped him right there at the elk. Almost 70 kilo, 15.95 score, hard shot him with the 270, not too bad. So I think if that guy hit Eclipse 16, we may have considered a skull mount for him. Still have a number of spots in the lodge for that. It's pretty much just skulls and waterfowl, if I'm not mistaken, but one that's not 16 plus, can't justify putting that in the lodge, even as a placeholder. You know, that 270 may be playing a pretty big role today. We've got a 195 to 225 mule deer buck out here, and the reason we're gonna have to use the 270 here is there's a spot in this lake, and when you're trying to call an animal from this side of it, we got a tree stand back there. They just kind of walk in circles. I'm not sure what it is that kind of confuses them, but he's just not going to come in. So we will, while he's broadside, see if we can line this up as well. I'm thinking that's going to be at least like a 203, 204 score buck. He looks pretty even. And for the first time, we don't drop something with the 270, but I don't think he'll be going terribly far. In fact, he actually went down right there. So let's go and see. I think we've managed now a 180 plus whitetail and a 200 plus mule deer. So the estimate was 195 to 225, but I'm pretty sure that's like the 205 frame. As far as I can tell, perfect frame though, so we should be in that range. Ended up with just a right lung shot. It's 205.7. That certainly ended up right on the dot. So I don't think we'll trophy shot that. It's a really quality buck. And I mean, again, kind of like I said with the whitetail, if we ever get whitetail, mule deer, blacktail, Euro mounts, I mean, we'd never stop hunting deer. But not a thing for now. And I guess we'll just continue on here. We obviously spooked things, but a weird hunt for sure, the way we've just kind of moved around, fast traveled to get sometimes around fleeing deer and things like that, but first, really solid kill of the hunt. And go figure, we make it a little bit further up to the next tower, and we've got another good buck coming in. Now, this one, not so impressive, but if we can maybe get a shot again with the 270, because we've got that other buck kind of bearing down on us, we'll try to do that. Hit him before he gets behind that brush, and actually, I was attempting to call in some wolves. A couple of females came in, actually just saw one running off there, but I put down the e-collar, and it was only because we got a grunt actually from that little buck that kept us from probably just going ahead and shooting one of the wolves. So we'll go ahead and collect that, and then go and collect our second solid mule deer buck. A little bit smaller this time, but I think he may, I don't know, he's got some pretty bad deductions. He might just end up being 180s. Hard shot again, a 183 for him. Definitely had the frame to be better than that, but short tines, deductions definitely kept him from achieving his max potential. Now that may be worthy of a skull mount, 16 to 17 and a 75 to 85 kilo weight estimate. And the problem is, I think did this last time on Timbergold trails, is way out there, and we've got the 270. Dang, it's so far like the ground actually renders different. I guess we're gonna run over there and see if we can call it in, because the longer we wait, the higher the chance it just goes and ends up chasing something. There's a wolf there though too. I just don't know how we really go about this without sending it running. The last thing we need is to have to try to track it down. So I guess maybe we just try to walk into range. I don't have a fast travel that really would help us here. We'll see what we can do. So that other wolf that was kind of in our way happens to be standing almost exactly where the bigger one that we're actually after was. And it would be ideal if we could get it taken out. Of course, he's going to kind of start walking forward, but I'd imagine he'll have to stop again. And hopefully, if he does, kind of slowed up there for a second. Oh, he's going to stop just behind that tree. So it's going to be almost a 50-meter shot. See if we can drop this in. That got him, and I just heard a howl in the distance. Nothing we could identify, but one of these tracks here somewhere should be from our bigger wolf. And I don't know, like, we're hearing those distant howls. I don't know that we can try to call them in. If we sit here forever and nothing shows up, like I said, they could go chase an elk somewhere. They could be miles away. There's the track. So at least we have that. Now comes solving the puzzle of where he's actually gotten to. So real quick, I think, yeah, intestine, stomach, liver dropped him. I thought that blood looked too dark to be anything vital, but that kind of was lucky, I would say, that we don't have to go and track him. And then let's see if we can figure out what actually happened here. He was pretty much out of sight not long after we spotted him. Gonna have to find the freshest track, and clearly he was here for a minute. Oh. That's not terribly old. Maybe he isn't very far away. Well, I can hear footsteps. We've got the e-collar going. I think that's going to be him right there. Look at the size of the head on that guy. Obviously, skull is the scoring for them. And we've got the 270 today. We are going to use it. And as soon as he turned his head sideways, while I do think it's cool, the skull mounts actually show up with a bullet hole in them if you shoot him in the head. I think we're probably better off not doing that for that guy. Where is this thing? I definitely want to turn that off. And let's go and see. So the maximum weight estimate for them, I think, is 90 kilo, maybe it's 95. Just the looks of him, I think he was a pretty darn good size one, and obviously 16 to 17 gives him a really nice estimate. He's going to be almost 80 kilo, 16.518. That is a really nice one. So let's do the skull mount here. Definitely something to display in the lodge. And then we'll see if we can take a nice trophy photo. Now, had we shot him more on flat ground, we could have used one of the trophy shot poses. I find for things that are tough to get into a decent pose like wolves, usually that looks better, but that's actually not too bad. And I think actually on that note, we're going to go back and take a look at that in the lodge. I mentioned, you know, this obviously was a 2-map hunt and I had to record them in different sections due to the stream. This part of the video is actually being recorded on the same day that it releases, so especially because we just got our third nice kill, and I would say definitely our best kill of the hunt, this needs to be edited and out today. So we're going to go back and take a look at the wolf and then get to that. I decided to put it upstairs, mostly because we've kind of been working on this area a decent bit. So these things here, like where our rabbit is, these can hold the skull mounts too, but there is a spot specifically right here, and I decided to put it there. I didn't realize that little mug was there. Has that always been there? That's the first time I've seen it as we've added this wolf skull here, but we recently added, I think it was, yeah, this reindeer here, the 617, moved this non-typical back here. This is a spot that we've kind of been working on, so nice to complete it by adding that wolf skull there. This lodge, I mean, it's so much fun to work on. I love having so much room and so much potential for improvement. On a hunt where we're mostly after deer, it's one of our best wolves in quite some time that actually ends up getting added to the trophy lodge, and I think it might be our first wolf skull mount that we've done. We've got hog skulls, obviously elk skulls everywhere, a couple of boar skulls. Adding a wolf skull is pretty darn cool. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.